Welcome to The Dish. As always, I'm Jalen Russell with my colleague Jalen Gray, giving you the latest stories from the NBA this week. First up, we have the potential playoff matchup between the Clippers and the Houston Rockets. The season series is tied 2-2 between the two teams. We think it's probably going to be a great series going to 7 games. Who do you have winning that one?
I have, the third-seeded Clippers winning this series just because they've been on a roll lately. Ever since Blake Griffin has come back, they've only managed to lose 2 games. They're 12-2 since he's come back. And I just think that the Rockets rely too heavily on Harden's production.
The reason they were relying on his production, though, is because Dwight Howard wasn't playing. Dwight Howard's now back. In his last 4 games, he's averaged 14 and 10 on 22 minutes per game. So once he gets back in game shape and they start playing him back to his normal 30 minutes or so per game, his numbers will go up a little bit, and I think they won't have to rely on Harden as much.
I think that Harden usually creates most of Dwight Howard's baskets as well, though. But
That's true.
I mean, their option to score in the fourth quarter is only James Harden, whereas the Clippers have, a bevy of guys, Chris Paul and Blake Griffin.
Right, but Harden's been able to do it, though. I mean, in their last game they played against each other, he had 34, 7, and 7. They won that game. Actually, the Houston Rockets have won the last 2 games that they've played against each other, and Dwight Howard played in none of the 4. So I think that once you have Dwight Howard back,
Blake Griffin was also missing.
True, Blake Griffin was missing for 2 of those games. They split those games 1-1. I think just once you get all the pieces back, I think Howard's going to swing these games in their favor.
But I also think that, going into the playoffs, when you have more time to game plan and you have more rest between games, they're going to have, a plan to shut down Harden. And I think their offense is going to suffer because of that.
They have a little bit of depth to them just because of all the injuries that they've had this year. But I think overall, this is what's going to be a great matchup. But I think the defensive presence of Dwight Howard down low is actually going to swing it in their favor.
Okay, we'll see.
But moving on, earlier this week, Derek Fisher came out and said that he can take the New York Knicks from 63 losses this year to 63 wins next year.
Nice.
But that question got us thinking, or that statement rather got us thinking, who of the bottom 5 teams in the NBA this year is most likely to make the playoffs next year?
Truthfully, I can't imagine any of these 5 making the playoffs next year. But if I had to pick, I'd pick, the team that's had the most wins this season, which is the Orlando Magic. And I mean, looking at the Eastern Conference, it doesn't seem like it's getting any better.
Right.
I mean, at the top, with Atlanta and Cleveland and all of them, but at the bottom, it's still, just a scrap,
win
pile
somewhere
of
close
trash.
to 50% of your
so
games.
they only need to win about 10 more games to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, but the only problem I have with them is that they have no head coach moving forward. And I think that down low, their starting power forward isn't really producing. Channing Frye.
But they have Vucevic. They don't.
Right, but when you have another guy starting who's only averaging 7.4 and 4 rebounds per game on 9.5 per, I think that's kind of ugly. I think the Knicks actually have a better chance. They have a weak division. I don't think they're going to win 63 wins.
They don't have a roster coming back next season.
Right, which means that they're going to get rid of this losing mentality and be able to instill a winning mentality and winning culture around the team. Plus, you have Carmelo Anthony coming back, which I think people are not considering too much.
I mean, he played okay this season, but they only managed to win 10 games
when he was in. But the thing is that he is a great scorer, one of the best scorers we have in the league right now. I think that he can convince other people to come there to play with him, and they're playing in the mecca of basketball, and they're going to get one of the top picks out of the draft this year.
The last 2-3 years. See, he hasn't gotten many guys to come back.
That's true. That's a good point. I think they have probably the #1 pick this year. Melo's coming back. You have a lot of cap room to work with. I think they can swing a couple people in their favor.
That's a lot of pressure.
They're only 2 games removed from winning 54 games. So I think that if you kind of bring that culture back, they might be able to do something.
But those coaches are gone. They're replaced with Derek Fisher and a new offensive system.
Hey, at least they have a coach. So that's all we have for you this week on The Dish. I'm Jalen Russell. He's Jalen Gray. Have a good week.